Hey Bec, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How you going?
Very good. This is part two as a follow-on from the first interview that we did with you.
Yeah.
And specifically for tonight, I wanted to drill into a bit more detail of one of the strategies that you spoke about that you use on a regular basis to assist you with, I guess, maintaining high quality levels of mental health. You talked
Oh,
about sleep
sleep
hygiene.
hygiene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we just unpack that a little bit? What can you explain to us what it is,
Yeah.
how you came about it, all of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, sure. So sleep hygiene basically means having a bedroom environment and a daily routine that enhances sleep quality for every night, I guess.
So consistently.
Yeah, consistently. And I find it for my mental health definitely has improved paramount for having a good sleep hygiene. So that could be a varied thing. So for me, I dull my iPhone. I've got an iPhone. So I put it in the night mode. So put it in mode. I get off technology around 8:30, 9 o'clock because I go to bed a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
No screen time.
Yep.
Quiet. Relaxing stuff. Doesn't have to be relaxing music, but just stuff that quietens my mind and gets me ready in a good. And I kind of have a regular bedtime, so if I can stick to that every night and do the same sleep routine that I do every night, it actually enhances my mental health, my mental well-being, I guess.
Yeah, beautiful. So with the phone, you're talking about the mode where it takes it off blue light and it puts it into yellow light.
Yellow light, yeah.
Yep. So that actually really helps. That's also why you can see like my screen is quite yellow. We don't have white lights in our house. We removed all of our bulbs, and we either have coloured ones or we have dimmed ones or yellow ones.
And we have dimmers in our house, so we dim quite a lot because it just sets it up.
Absolutely.
No TV in the room for me.
Yep, so agreed. Us too.
I used to have one in my room. I had really bad insomnia for a consistent period of time when I was younger, and that also triggered my psychosis for my bipolar. So I really learned early on. I didn't practice it for a while, but I learned early on what were the triggers for my mental health, and lack of sleep 100%. Is a mental health decline for me. And so to keep me well, one of the factors is good sleep hygiene. And I highly recommend it for anyone that's having trouble with sleep, even if it's not mental health related. That good quality sleep hygiene before bed and getting into that set routine is paramount.
I'd have to 100% agree. Having been an athlete, I guess you're always looking for how do you find little 1% improvement elements. And I guess I was really fortunate to, when I was at the height of my career, it was right at the beginning of when mobile devices were becoming available and just weren't what they are today. So the whole full screen thing wasn't an issue. But I know for elite athletes now that I work with in a coaching capacity, that's definitely one of the things that they, practice. One of the athletes I worked with in the lead up to the Rio Olympics, sleep hygiene was a crucial component for her health and well-being and her optimal performance. And same, no screen time after 8 p.m. at night. And had to be really strict around that, and that can be a real challenge for some people.
It can.
It's a really disciplined thing, and it's a conscious choice, isn't it, around putting yourself first?
Yeah, because sometimes when I flick it, I'm like, ooh, Facebook, and I'm like, no, because then you go down a treasure trove of looking, and then you're on, and it's not good, and I think. And also I find I have a diffuser in my room. So
for essential oils?
Essential oils, sorry, yes. So that particular smell, essential oil, is really beneficial from a calming perspective in my room. For me, my bedroom is for sleep. I use my bedroom for sleep. And I was taught that early on by my mum. She's a nurse, and she's nursed in many areas, and she said it was really beneficial to not have a TV in my room. Yes, I could read a little bit before bed, because I don't mind, because I actually fall asleep.
Same here.
The podcast, I also I love the podcast, but I can never stay awake. They put me to sleep.
You've got to go back and find which part you fell asleep at.
Where was I up to? But yeah, I think screen time is huge, because I spent a lot of time on my screen. I be on to a different admin of groups doing stuff, and I really had to think, is this good for my mental health? Up till midnight, moderating whatever it was. I was also moderated a mental health page, and you could get some people that were quite unwell, like in the middle of the night, or 11 or 12. So you'd find you're answering yourself, and then it's 2 a.m. So I put strict boundaries in place for myself to make it all work, and just be consistent, and just remind myself, if I don't do this, what will happen? What will be the consequence of me not following through on my sleep hygiene?
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about a couple of things there. So there was discipline around it, and asking yourself, is this good for my mental health and well-being? There was the bedroom is for sleep. I love that. It's a sanctuary. It's where you go to be, warm, fuzzy, and cuddly. I also really like some of the techniques around either listening to a voice or reading. For those of you that have seen the talk that we had around storytelling with Bettina, there's some metaphor in there as well, which I think would help the subconscious mind to potentially, fall asleep. I feel like there's a connection there.
I'm an avid reader. Like, I'm such an avid reader, but at bedtime I fall asleep within like 3 pages.
I'm the same, and I feel like it's the combination of the low light, a warm, cozy location, and then drifting off into another world in some respects, into fantasy. It's like it triggers all of the right releases of chemicals in the brain to actually fall asleep.
It's all that melatonin just whizzing around.
That's exactly it. Using the body to its advantage. The essential oils, I'm a huge fan of that too. It's an incredibly ancient form of alchemy. I think we underestimate as modern humans just how simple and precious something like lavender or ylang ylang or any of those
I do lavender mainly.
Lavender is incredible.
And I also have another one. I find that sometimes some people are very negative towards ourselves, and we would never speak the way we speak about ourselves to our friends.
So true. If I was my friend right now, I'd be.
I wouldn't be friends with me. I wouldn't be friends with me if I think the way I speak about myself. But I really believe, and I'm a firm believer of being kind to your mind.
Oh my God, that's such a great mantra.
I have that all the time, and when a negative thought goes, be kind to your mind. Because it's so important to be kind to our minds, because we need to look after them.
Oh, and they do so much work for us all the time. Like, even when we're sleeping, it's working. Like, it's never off.
It's just always
defragging while we sleep.
So
it's
I
a really important process.
Important to be kind and be kind to yourself. I think kindness is undervalued sometimes, and especially being kind to our mental health. So important. So for me, when I go to bed, I have a few mantras. I've got a book with a couple of mantras, and I pick them, and then I use them for the week. And then I say, just to give myself kindness before bedtime, so I'm not ruminating on all the other shit that happens in my workspace, because my workspace is really heavy, working in suicide prevention, and I bloody love my job. I absolutely love it, but I have to be kind to my mind. You can't pour from an empty cup. Like, you can't.
Oh, God,
Sleep hygiene really benefits me in my workspace, my professional and my personal life, because I can get up every morning and I can do my job effectively. I hope so. And work with my participants to support them to my best ability, and it comes from the good sleep hygiene that I do every night.
Love it. This is just
Yeah.
so powerful and gorgeous. Do you have any other strategies? I know something that I often do when I'm particularly in that rumination, you know, in overload. I will dump everything out on a piece of paper.
Journal. I was going to say journal.
Get it out.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I'll do is map out my day the next day, like almost like a mental rehearsal, literally like 6 a.m. wake up, 6:30 have a cup of tea, 7 o'clock jump in the shower, like literally like all of the menial stuff that we just take for granted, like put it all out on a piece of paper. And I find that when I do that, it's like my brain like memorizes it while I'm asleep, and then when I wake up, I never even have to look at the thing. My day just flows.
That's so awesome.
It's pretty wicked. If you've not tried that as a strategy.
I've not tried that. I get all my thoughts out onto paper for sure. It clears your mind and it gets all that rubbish out.
Yes.
Thinking about out. But that is next level. I'm going to try that.
It is next level. And it's again, you know, you think about from an athlete context, it's a form of visualization. So it's like literally giving your brain a set of goals. But if you put them in reality, in time, particularly if I always do it when I have a really big day of meetings, or I've got a big presentation somewhere where I need to be really clear in my head. If I plan the day out in that way, like literally moment by moment, including like you know, go to car, you know, start driving, you know, and I write down, you know, all the stuff that I need to remember to take, like, you know, pack this thing, and I actually will go and grab those. I have
posters on my fridge or sticking or on like my wheel of my car.
Put it in a place where you literally cannot, you have to step over it. And I think, you know, if we treat our brains like they're a list carrying machine, and they're actually really bad at that, by the way. The brain is not designed, it's an association tool. It's designed to make connections and associations.
And
it's not designed to remember lists. Yeah.
And it's that mindfulness and practice. And I find practicing mindfulness at bedtime sometimes is another thing as well. Meditation and mindfulness. Because I find the Calm app really, I shout that out to the roof. It's great. And it makes you mindful and calm. And I think that's really important to be mindful of the practices you do of a nighttime or a daily routine, because that sets us up for good mental health as well.
Absolutely. It's intentional, right?
Yeah.
So, and if we aren't intentional about where we're placing our mind or how we're setting ourselves up for sleep, or disciplined around that, then someone else or something else is dictating it for us. That's the thing. So it's actually we actually have control. We have the choice to set ourselves up. And I love that you immediately connect self-care with how much you can give to others. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
100%.
If I'm full and I give to me first, then I'm capable of giving to others.
Yeah. And I never used to be like that, but it costs me to not be like that. So I'm really mindful. Like, I have to be 100% giving myself, and sometimes it's hard to do, right?
Yes, it is.
Always a little bit selfish of me. Am I going to say no to this particular thing? But you know what? Be kind to your mind, because you've only got one of them.
That's it.
You know.
That's it. And anyone, you know, that you've made a commitment to, and you think, actually, this isn't serving me, you know, you also have a choice to communicate that to that person and alter the commitment or reschedule or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and that's so much about integrity around, you know, self-care as well.
Also, that's exactly right, because if you feel rushed, or you think, I just have to squeeze into my day because that person's going to be annoyed with me or whatever, you're not present when you're going there to spend that time, do that meeting, have that Zoom call, whatever it is. You're not going to be actually present fully, thinking about 1,000 other things that you should be doing, that instead of doing where you are at that in time.
Being fully present with that person. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, so cool. Is there anything else, any other gems that you got for us? Because there was a lot in there. It was beautiful.
I think that's it. But I think my take on is be kind to your mind. I think it's so important that the self-talk that we talk to ourselves, and especially before bedtime, people find it hard to go to sleep of a nighttime. You can be ruminating on a lot of thoughts, and it can be overwhelming at times. And that sometimes nighttime is the loneliest time for some people, and isolation. And I think if everyone can just take a little bit of tips, little tidbits out of it, just to be kinder to ourselves and to really practice that sleep hygiene and make it consistent, because consistency is the key. And the more you do it, the more second nature it will become to do.
So true. Thanks, Bec. That was beautiful.
That's okay.
Really appreciate it. And yeah, our goal here was to provide some strategies and some ideas, and definitely there's a few in there. We've kind of swapped some notes now. So
yeah, I'm gonna take that down for next time.
Love it. That's awesome. Thanks so much for
Thank
the
you.
chat.
Thanks.